So speaking of going to WWE, a lot of the people in the Fight Forever game are in WWE or were in WWE, and Tony Khan continues for some reason. This is yesterday. He was talking about this, and he's talking about AEW Fight Forever. I haven't really played it. I play 2K, but I don't really with this game. It's silly. I think they messed up.
It now. I paid $4 for it on Black Friday because it was $4.
Okay, give us a review of it. After you play it for like a week, I want Deejay to come back and review the game. But Wrestle
I have not touched it yet. I only bought it because I wanted to play with some of the AEW characters and see if it was really as bad as everyone claimed it is. Even though I've seen gameplay, it looks terrible.
If you have
I have to experience the badness myself.
If you have Parsec, let me know and we can experience the badness together.
So Wrestle Purist via Mr. Rightway say Tony Khan believes AEW will release more games in the future.
Oh, sure.
But is still supporting AEW Fight Forever for now. Now, do you guys remember the excuse was, well, it's an investment. They built the whole engine, so there will be sequel games and blah, blah, blah. So this game's already dead. And Tony, just like his wrestling company, thinks, I know, I'll just put more wrestlers here, and then maybe it'll change. So instead of like I said, the guy who made Wrestling Empire, M. Dickey, hire him, give him $2 million, and just get him to take his game and slap AEW all over it and all the IP you guys have. And there you go. That'll be more worth it. That guy made more money off his game than you guys did. It's crazy. And so, and he makes like a mobile game, and shout out M. Dickey. But Tony Khan says, it was a great first entry with AEW Fight Forever, and people can still play Fight Forever all over the world. I think eventually, absolutely, we'll still keep putting AEW games into the world. But right now, we're fully supporting that, and we're excited about it, and there's still more wrestlers and exciting things happening with the game, and a lot of opportunities in the world of gaming.
Dude, what? No one's going to play.
Do you think Tony has a single clue about how many copies that game sold or anything that's going on with that game, or is he just leaving the check to Kenny?
He's just saying this because he has to defend and come up with whatever. Everything's great. Nothing's ever not a good opportunity. And ultimately, I think this is why Kenny is I think maybe people are not impressed with him with the game thing too. And I could see that being a bit of a factor in why he's sort of seemingly distancing a bit, although he will be back in AEW for sure. But yeah, I just think Tony doesn't know about, and he's just saying this because that's what I do. I just talked to, he's a carny. He's a carny.
Yeah. Somebody told him that word first entry was going to mean something.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just the first entry. Like that means anything. He tries to use different buzzwords that just fail. Terrible.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is like, he's talking about, we're going to keep adding more wrestlers. Dude, you should be MK1ing this already and completely discontinuing the servers. The servers are barren. There's a dust ball going through them. Nobody's playing this game. Like nobody. Yeah. It was a flop from Jump Street. And by the way, a lot of people give crap to Kenny. Kenny was trying to get changes. I'm not sure if it was Kenny. If you could blame Kenny, but you could blame Ukes. Ultimately, you got to blame Tony because he overpaid for a game he didn't need to overpay for, and he's paying the price for it. And now he's trying to struggle and try to make his company profitable again after.
Yeah, but why? But why would they build it from the ground up? Like even Kenny had to have been like, "No, don't do that. That's stupid." He had to have known. He had to have known, unless they just thought.
Ukes had the engine. Ukes had the engine already. I don't understand how you didn't use it. Like what the?
So AEW All in Texas
because they think they can know better, like everything in that company.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, exactly.
But AEW All in Texas clears the $1 million mark in ticket sales. Good for them, I guess. However, as I pointed out before, 1 million is like a third of Moxley's contract alone. That's like a third of Moxley's salary alone. So good for them. hopefully they make it 3 million and they can afford one wrestler for this big show. Let alone, I don't know, because all the sickos are like, oh, people trying to say 1 million doesn't mean it doesn't when you're paying just Moxley like 3 million a year. And you have Lashley in the company for 4 million or 3 million, or you have Mercedes in the company for 5 million or 10 million. All the rumors, right? And all I'm saying is that 1 million is what they pay fucking probably Orange Cassidy or whatever. You know what I mean? So
exactly,
dude.
Yeah.
So like that doesn't mean I hope they make more, but no, it really doesn't mean to Tony right now. Like this does nothing for anything. They should run a smaller building and maybe actually make money off this thing, but they're not gonna. And it's impossible when you have these people on the salaries they're on.
Well, the other thing too. Go ahead.
No, you go.
Okay, I was only going to say this is look at who the source is coming from. Like this is the same guys. Like, it's 1 million, but it's actually like 995,000. So it's basically 1 million. I mean, it's coming from the Observer, so we don't even know if this number is accurate at all. Like, for all we know, it could be underneath it.
What MJ was kind of saying on Twitter before he went MIA was, well, that's kind of disingenuous saying 1.2 million. What were the prices of the tickets sold? How many tickets were sold? Usually you get the number of tickets sold before you know the number of how much you got out of that.
Yep.
Right.
So why aren't we knowing how many tickets?
Because Dave Meltzer will tell you, you just do the quick math, and if they're worth 1,600 a piece times 10, that's what
No, but
they just have some stupid ass.
I think Tony put that number out to Dave, knowing Dave would bite. You know what I mean? It was the perfect bait number to say, okay, cool, that's good for me, Tony. You don't have to tell me ticket prices. You made $1 million. That's positive. That's good enough for me,
bro. Dave Meltzer's math. Brother, Dave Meltzer's math equations would make Einstein roll in his grave.
It would make Steiner roll. Steiner would be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, like Steiner has better math skills than Dave, and he only got an addition wrong as opposed to multiplying. That was the difference there.
We were talking about Ray Phoenix and all that. Of course, check out Ray Phoenix Exposes Tony Khan and AEW PWT Run-In. I already covered it all, so we're not going to talk about that too much this show, but there's more details surrounding Willie Mack, another person who's been seemingly shelved, and GCW, of course, Ricky Starks infamously pulled off their shows and shelved. So the GCW side of it is that Willie Mack called him up on Saturday. It's a late deal. So Tony Khan's pulling Willie Mack, too, off of GCW shows, but then he booked Cardona, and people want to sit there and go, oh, no, it's like a good gesture. No, it's not, bro. They're cutting GCW's legs out from under them and booking their top star to do their Hammerstein show before theirs or whatever, and quit them completely. And Cardona's on both shows, and good for him. I'm not going to hate on him, but at the end of the day, he's shelving Willie Mack. So Willie called him Saturday. It's a late deal, and said that he was pulled from the show by AEW over the FE. So Brett Lauderdale, really upset, calls Sanjay Dutt and goes, "Is this true?" And Sanjay Dutt says it's absolutely not true. So he calls up Willie Mack and says, well, I wasn't pulled. I was specifically not pulled, but Daniels made it clear that I shouldn't go. Well, okay, what's going on here? So then Willie Mack goes, this is via Observer Radio too, so they're friends with Daniels and the Bucks, and they're just. But here's the thing: they go from the AEW standpoint, they are saying that nothing like that happened, and Willie Mack called them and asked AEW, it's never their fault. No, none of that happened. No, that never happened. No, we it's never us. No, why would our travel stuff beat up? No, it would never be us who has bad community. No, it's never us. And the Observer Radio just parrots that. But AEW is very, very clear and looked Sanjay and told Brett the same thing. They're not pulling Willie Mack from the show. He's under contract there and he's not wrestling Saturday. Right, but do you guys – here's the thing. This is how Bush League AEW is. So this is what is seemingly going on, right? So – he wasn't pulled from the show, but somebody who has authority there, who sits in Gorilla next to Tony Khan all show, every show, Chris Daniels, and who's friends with the Bucks, is going up to Willie Mack and saying, you really shouldn't. Hey, you weren't pulled, bro, but you really shouldn't do that. So to get out of the situation, Willie Mack goes, man, they pulled me. I just want to, hey, man, yeah, they pulled me. My bad. So then it gets out, and then the dirt sheets blow it up into this, and then Willie Mack looks like, because he looks like lying, but he was really just white lying to try and save face. He didn't want drama. They pull him off the show, and then all of a sudden now this is getting blown up, and it's so stupid how the Observer doesn't realize they these guys over so badly, make everyone look stupid, and they make AEW look incompetent. So at the end of the day, to me, it sounds like AEW didn't explicitly pull him off the show or contractually, but then he was told privately by Daniels, hey, you shouldn't do that. So he's like, well, I don't want
they were fear-mongering him. That's exactly what they were
doing.
Yeah,
and that's up too. That's like bad business practice. And,
it's horrible.
And people want to jump on Ray Phoenix for saying inhumane. Well, this is what he means, bro.
This is exactly what he means. Yes.
It's weird.
The
so
communication
I don't
in that
know.
company just makes no sense. Like it's
Jake, what's your thoughts on this? Like overall, Jake?
I mean, the complete lack of communication and undercutting is just embarrassing. And then
just like, bro, don't leak this to the sheets when he tried to protect you guys. He just tried to say, yo, I was pulled. It's a business move. And then GCW's like, what's up?
You're terrible.
Yeah, and then Lauderdale is like, yo, they booked Cardona because as a good gesture, a gesture of goodwill, whatever, they convinced Lauderdale of that. Lauderdale gets on the phone and they're like, no, we're not pulling people off GCW. Then Willie Mack looks like a liar. But really, I'm with Mack here. It's like, bro, he wasn't lying or nothing. He just was trying to be low-key about this. Then it turns into a story because these idiots.
Well, but what are you, Daniel's like head of like talent relations? That's somebody in power telling you shouldn't go.
Yeah, you really shouldn't.
That's not like your boss's boss, but that's like one of your bosses telling you to do something. You know, like if you're in a corporate structure, like I work for a major corporation. Like I work for a company that's got an NFL stadium named after it. So like I have a boss, and then she has a boss, and then that person has a boss. And so if one of them tells me don't do this, I'm not going to do it. Very simple.
And it's all because of Effie's comments that that were just true. That were just unobjectively true. That's what's the saddest part about it. And Willie Mack was in a no-win situation here. Let's make that very clear. He was in a no-win situation no matter how he went about this. He was essentially given, either you're going to tell them you can't go, and then we're going to make you look like an idiot and bury you, or you do go, and when you come back, we're going to bury you. He was going to be buried no matter what. I mean, the writing was on the wall.
DJ, brother, what do you make of this whole thing?
I honestly, it doesn't shock me at this point that Tony's, burning another bridge with another promotion. He did the similar, not exact similar, but he's done like this with Conan and pissed him off to the point where Conan didn't want to with him no more and has been bad mouthing him. And I wouldn't be shocked if Conan's been the one telling Ray Phoenix, hey, do this to Tony. This will get under his skin and get you out of your contract.
Well, allegedly, we don't know.
Allegedly, but I'm just putting two and two together. Conan has a good relationship with a lot of Latino people in AEW.
Yeah, he does.
He exposed a lot of this with Santana and Ortiz and their beef. He knew a lot about that beforehand.
And
he knows a lot about the Lucha Bros.
How funny is it too, dude, that all of these like things were said too, like, yeah, it's a show back there, and then like Lufisto gets attacked and like that, and then it all just surfaces out and it's true. Like people are getting out of their contracts, now they're speaking up. Some people are just getting fed up. And shout out Willie Mack. And he was shelved the whole time, but he was happy taking indie dates. He wanted to take a GCW date. He got pulled off it. All he's doing is his job. So he just said, look, they pulled me off it. Oh, well, it wasn't technically pulled off. Yeah, but Chris Daniels, who sits next to Tony and Gorilla and teaches him how to do his job while he's friends with the Bucks and he's head of talent relations, told him privately you shouldn't do it. You're not pulled, but you shouldn't do it. Okay, then I won't do it. Are you telling me not to do it? It's like, Jesus Christ. Why is communication so bad there they can't just tell him don't do it?
The other thing too is that he's just another guy in the long list of guys, of big Haas guys that they have on their roster that they are not utilizing properly at all. Like there's no way you have a wrestling company and you're not utilizing a guy like Willie Mack. It boggles my mind. It really does.
Well, I say the same thing about Jay Lethal constantly. Like you have Jay Lethal on your roster. You don't have him as your ROH world champion or one of your mid-card champions. You just have him floating around with a giant pinhead giant, Jeff Jarrett and Sanjay Dutt. Like, come on now.
And another guy that they and by the way, that's no disrespect to Satnam because he's another missed opportunity. They completely
he's such a bro.
Yeah.
They had a giant.
That. I say it's a giant. It's partially his fault too. He's been there for like what 2 or 3 years and done jack all of.
Yeah, but he's got idiots telling him what to. There's no one good in his ear telling
exactly.
him
What do you do? That's exactly but as funny as that is, Jake, it's true because like. What can you do with the freaking system that they have in place there where, like, you can't get over anytime, like, they think less of big guys like that? What can you do? Nothing.
I've said it the whole time. Tony Khan books big guys like Vince McMahon booked small guys.
Yes!
He doesn't know what he's doing.
Oh, yes.
It's just no idea.
He sees his high school bully in every guy who's over 6'1" and 220 pounds. I swear.
Push all the little guys because he's a skinny little guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like anybody who weighs over 250 pounds should want to be nowhere near this company.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Duke says it best. He's the king of the jellybacks. That's what he is. He is a fucking jellyback humanoid bastard.
I didn't know if you were going to go jellybag or humanoid when you said Duke. I was ready for either. That's great.
I know the lore. I know the lore about the jellybag.
So jellybag or humanoid? The answer is yes.
Yes.
So the answer is yes.
Earlier in the show, we talked about like Dave Meltzer criticizing Miles Bourne, and he's like, he should stop trying to be Randy Orton. He's he's trying to be Randy Orton. Here's literally Fletcher doing Randy Orton's moves and taunts, and literally because AIR Gold put out a tweet like he's like Randy Orton. Or whatever Mark put that out. Watch this. I'm going to leave it small screen. I don't want to get Don Stevens. I'm going to turn the volume down on it too. But if you guys can see that.
Yeah.
I can see
he's doing Randy Orton.
Yeah, I saw this.
It might be a little laggy. I'm sorry. Also, the uploader, it's like a GIF or whatever. But he's like, he does the head spin
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he does the DDT, like a shout out to Orton, which is cool. I like Fletcher, but I mean, come on. That's Timu Fletcher now. Like, stop alluding to WWE. Don't lean into these real uber sicko marks because people hate when you guys do that. Trust me.
Well, in Kyle Fletcher's defense, he's younger than me. This kid grew up watching Randy Orton.
Yeah, right? I don't blame him at all.
It's kind of like, people doing the figure four lot growing up. A lot of people did the figure four or the sharpshooter. Those were just
he never did.
Brett and Flair.
Here's my only thing, though. He's only doing that because AIR Gold or whatever Mark tweeted out a picture like, oh, the resemblance is uncanny. And everyone was like, dude, Fletcher couldn't like sniff Orton's jock or whatever old adage they were saying. But and then on this collision, he did that like in response to that. Because why else did he do that out of nowhere?
It's because he's used to getting indie style kind of heat. He's never been on TV.
And that's the point. That's the point I'm making. They got to cut out like trying to take shots at WWE if they want to be the challenger brand. Like, this is just more of like, dude, don't let these sickos get in your head. No one pop for that. All anyone does is try and roast that. And like, I like Fletcher, and I don't blame him doing that too. Like, yes, he idolized Orton. I don't get mad when people do other people's moves, and I think you should ask them, but ultimately, like, how many moves are there? People got to do each other at some point. I just think that in AEW, man, it's like a culture of people who just let the IWC sickos get to them too much, to where they acknowledge it all too much. It's like, bro, don't do that. Like, come on, this is silly. And then Dave, I just wanted to highlight how Dave's like, Miles Bourne needs to get away from the Orton. He better keep the same energy about Fletcher and say that Fletcher needs to get away from the Orton. Because do you just want to be compared to Orton now forever? I mean, that's a great comparison, but you don't want to just be like Orton light, bro. Don't book yourself into that by doing that,
Diet RKO.
Yeah, Diet RKO. No, well, that's the other thing, bro. He doesn't even look like a Timu Randy Orton dude. He looks like a Timu Aaron Rift, and I like Aaron Rift, by the way. So, like, I freaking get along with him just fine, but he looks like Aaron Rift. The dude looks like a Q-tip, bro. I'm sorry.
I like Fletcher. I think there's something about him. You could book him. Like, I'm not even mad at him cutting his promos. Just their fans don't like that.
I'm mad at him cutting his hair. I thought his
hair was really what it up for him. He had a look beforehand. He was starting to get.
I think he was knockoff Ospreay. I thought he was knockoff Ospreay. I was like, bro, him, Ospreay, and Action Andretti all got the same.
No,
fucking haircut.
Ospreay needs to shave his hair. Ospreay looks like one of those British kids who beats up other kids because his parents wouldn't buy him dinner.
What do you mean? I just bully me mates, bruv. What are you talking about, bruv?
When I fight them, bruv, I land on my head, bruv.
Yeah. Yeah. What does Joey say? Fall down, get up, fall down, get up, fall down, get up.
Fall down, get up.
That was the greatest ever, man.
So good.
So Powerful King JJ tweeted this out. Someone at Fightful goofed up or TK is on something. So let's read what Fightful has to say. Or this is what Khan's saying, but this is via Wrestling Inc. I don't know why Fightful's brought into this. Actually, I didn't read this. But
they're stooching on each other. Yay!
Yeah, exactly. They're all eating each other as they did, as we told you they would do. But Khan's like, All In, the big stadium show, the first time anybody in America since the 90s has attempted to do a stadium show in America. No other wrestling company, any alternative wrestling company has tried this. It hasn't been tried in a long time. I think probably since WCW ran the Georgia Dome, I believe. I think it's going to be a great success for us, God says. So he starts off by saying no other company actually like WWE does, but like WCW. See, they're in more competition with a dead company that is WCW. I've said it. They hate Bischoff. They always talk about, it outlasted Thunder, more successful than WCW. The number one, number two. That's what they keep saying. The number one, number two. The number one challenger brand. The number one, number two, compared to what? WCW, Bischoff doesn't know. And then Dave Meltzer, I'm so much in Bischoff's mind. Like, these people are competing with WCW, and that's why they're losing to WWE. Because WCW couldn't beat WWE, bro. You're competing with some that's dead already. Bro. So it's crazy they're saying this. And then, they're trying to be the number one, number two. We need to coin that, put that on a shirt.
Tony Khan speaks like Dave Meltzer writes. It's actually uncanny.
Yes. It's because Tony learned from Dave. Everything Tony knows about wrestling and anything, he learned it from Dave.
I was in the dirt sheet tabloids. I was in those message boards.
I was a junior contributor. I was a Disney junior contributor.
I traded tapes because my dad bought them all for me. I remember the TV station with the tapes.
I remember the days when it was only $7.99 and not a Black Friday sale.
I recorded every ECW match that I've ever been in. It was great.
Arthur Ashe Stadium is a stadium. It's in its name. No other company's ever tried to run a stadium until All In Texas, except for us and every other wrestling company before us. This is great. My God. Pete just drops a nuke. Yeah, dude, you guys have done Arthur Ashe, which is a stadium. You've already done this.
Which they've already been pushed out of.
Yes. And he goes, I guarantee you this is going to be history in pro wrestling. No American wrestling company other than WWE has attempted to run a stadium show in decades. Tony, you've run a stadium show this decade. And to run a show of this magnitude, Texas is the perfect state. There's the Royal Rumbles of bigger magnitude than the Tony Storm return chat with her old Tony Storm gimmick. And the crowd fought pretty good.
And Thunder Rosa's just in a crowd holding up signs.
Yeah.
That's the way you bring her back on TV.
I want this so bad, though. Old Tony Storm's back. I want it.
Yes,
fuck the timeless. This is the Tony Storm I fell in love with.
Yeah. I'm glad she's back, too. I like it. I'm all the way down. I love Tony. So shout them out for that. And she did get a great pop. That crowd was actually really hot throughout the show. So good for them.
Good crowd.
Yeah, they had like 4,000 people. Now, people were on that, but for AEW, they're in an empty building. I'm not sure, but the building, they filled like a third of the building. Like, it was empty overall. However, 4K for AEW is a pretty good house for them. You know what I mean? At this point, it's not saying much. They're going backwards. It's not a good thing, but
they're going backwards, but that is a good sign that they can't go. Hopefully, they can't go any further down. And when they do downsize eventually, and they go to those smaller arenas, then they'll actually be able to fill them up. So that's good.
Yeah,
at least it won't be dull and boring.
Yeah, so Tony Khan just talking about no one's done a show of this magnitude, bro. The Rumble's a bigger deal than this. Like, I don't know what you're.
Right.
So Globe Life Field,
SummerSlam is about to be 2 days.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Exactly. Like, so the magnitude, like which night of SummerSlam are you talking about is the magnitude of this, you know? So Jake Hager says that Tony Khan didn't even want him in AEW, but Chris Jericho did. We got the purple hat thing. Yeah, we knew that the whole time, buddy. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, that
Jake.
wasn't news.
Trust me, bud. We were well aware.
Late.
Yeah,
everyone knew that the day he got hired. I'm like, oh,
serious,
dude. I'm gonna be honest with you, Jake. We didn't even want you.
Yeah, seriously, dude. Like that guy got nothing.
We talked about Darby Allin. We talked about Darby Allin being a dumbass. Let's look at this spot here. I actually like this though. Like he can do it. Let him do it, but why on a random collision? That should be like your. That's like your WrestleMania moment. Your all-in moment should have been that. Where dude's sitting on the chair, gets out of the way, you break. Look, we gimmick the chair. We gimmick this chair. Look, it's actually shaved down right here in the corners, and we gimmicked it so it didn't hurt. And that's why they couldn't sit on it. Or they
good for you.
Yeah, that's what I said to my son's mom before she got pregnant. It was gimmick.
Trojan condom, baby.
It was a gimmick, okay?